Alright guys, here we are tonight, Golf Central, and we do have a little bit of stuff to test, and thanks to Taylormade Adidas Australia for allowing us to independently test the new M1.
Yep.
So we've already hit a few balls.
Yep.
Richo, yeah.
Got them set up to how we would like them.
Correct. So I've had my numbers. Richo's got most of his numbers.
Yep.
So I've hit a few balls. But let's start talking about the spec stuff first. So the
I'll let you do that.
marketing stuff. So basically we've got a 15 gram weight in the front and a 12 gram weight in the back. So they've saved 2 grams overall in the head to put an extra 2 grams on the bottom in movable weights. Yeah? Yep. Also that top line, that white part is actually a little bit smaller. Which
I like that. I like it better than last year's model for that.
Well, you say that you're not a massive fan of most Taylor drivers, and you might be saying you like this one.
Look, I've never ever hit a Taylormade driver that I've ever liked. The 200 series, the 500 series, even the last year's M1, it didn't grab me at all.
Yep.
I didn't feel that it was going to do anything to improve my game.
Yeah.
I think you're going to go on to the next part.
There's a whole lot more.
Yep.
So 43% more carbon in the whole driver itself. There's carbon in the toe, as you can see in the close-ups. There's also, the weights are recessed. So if you have a look at that front track, it's actually covered by a little bit of titanium there. So it's a little bit more aerodynamic in that regard. It's also 4% larger footprint. Yeah, there's 6 layers instead of 7 on the crown here in the carbon. So there's a whole lot going on, but the whole point of it is to save weight from the crown and put it down as low as you possibly can. So as you can see by the exploded head that we've got here, there's a lot of carbon, there's a lot of stuff to actually make it light in certain spots to make it heavier, lower and further forward.
Yep.
And that discretion will re-weight, so there's a heavier weight at the front, draw fade, and it's a little bit longer track than what 2016 M1 was.
Yeah. The two things I really like is the smaller white face and the darker head, because this is darker than last year's model.
Yep.
I've always liked the black-headed drivers.
Yes.
Find it easier on my eyes, but the thinner white line here to me looks...
Look, I love last year's.
Better to me than last year's.
I love last year's, and I've used it for the whole year that it's been out, 15, 16 months, 15, 14 months. Yep. But yes, this does look, I suppose, more classy.
Yeah, I didn't think much of last year's model, and that's just my opinion. I'm sure a lot of people will go.
Well, let's finish there.
Yeah.
And let's check out some numbers and see if you rate this over last year's.
Yep.
All right, guys, let's check out some numbers. All right, guys, so I've done my numbers, and look, it is very good. I think the biggest thing that I found was the sound is very, very different while Richo has a hit. So the sound to me, it's probably a little bit more crushing, maybe a little bit more carbony, a little bit less tingy, which I think is a good thing. I've also hit some numbers before you go on, Richo. I've hit some numbers with the 440cc, not 430 this time. I found it, when it comes off good, it comes off great, spins a bit low. As you can see from some of these numbers, it's not really any different for me than what the 460 was, but I felt the 460 wanted to go straighter.
Okay. I'll ask you one question.
Felt a bit more erratic.
So, what do you think of it compared to last year's?
I think that it's probably going to be very similar numbers. As actually, in saying that, I've got a 9.5 here. I got my 10.5. For me, this is launching at 13, spinning at low 2s.
Yep.
I had my 10.5 with the same sort of numbers, maybe a tad higher spin. So if I could go down lower loft, maybe gain a bit more ball speed, and still keep the same sort of launch and spin numbers, I think that's a good thing. But yeah, 440 I don't think it's for everybody.
No, I didn't hit that. I don't need to hit any more than this one. It went all right.
So, numbers wise, I'm pretty happy with my numbers, but Richo, sound, feel?
Do you know what? I really like it. I thought last year's model was average and overrated.
Yeah, right.
Right, so I didn't think much of it at all. I hit yours a few times. We even tried it with a regular shaft in it.
We did.
I didn't think much of it at all. Right, I still felt that it wanted to move to the right. I feel this one wants to hold its line. We do have a wind here. The wind is pushing.
A little bit, right?
Pushing my slice.
Yeah.
And I've hit 3 that have just held their line and have not moved with that wind at all. I reckon it's all right. I'd like to compare it with the Fusion.
Yeah.
But I reckon this is better than last year's. That's just my opinion.
I think that's all that matters. But
yeah, I felt last year still wanted for me to move right, even though we adjusted it and set it for a draw. But I felt that this one certainly feels better off the club face, and it feels like it just wants to hold its line and move forward. And you know, like I said, I compare it to the proper Fusion I really liked, so,
you can compare it to that.
Get the two of them out and give them a whirl.
Yeah, and for me, as somebody who's used the M1 2016 since it's come out, like I said, sound and feel.
I mean, it's only taken 30 years, maybe finally Taylormade's made a driver I like.
Come on now. Number one driver in golf, I've always used them. So, does that make me a fanboy? Look, I don't know, yeah. It certainly sounds better, and it certainly feels a little bit less tingy, and I think that's a good thing, like I said.
I think that's the sensation that I have with this one compared to last year's. It was a little bit tingy and a little bit hard off the club face, and I've always found that with Taylormade drivers. To me, they've always felt like the club faces are very hard. That's where I feel this one's got a little bit more forgiveness in it.
It's more feel, I think, in it.
But I like this one. It's
good.
It's probably as good
as anything can be. Look, guys, go check out the new 2017 M1 range wherever you can. Get fit, guys. Have a hit and make the decision for yourself. We think it's a tad better.
Without a doubt. Pick the drivers you like, go and put them up against each other. Because ultimately, in the end, that's what we will do.
Exactly right.
I'll pick 2 or 3 drivers, we'll get out, we'll put them head to head and work out which one we reckon's the best.
Exactly what you guys should do as well.
Without a doubt.
Too easy. Thanks, guys, for checking out the video. Thanks for Taylormade Adidas Australia for allowing us to test these. And we'll see you next time.
Beautiful.
Cheers.